Hey guys, yeah, it's almost about 1:30. I've got about half hour before I have to clock back in, almost a half hour. So I wanted to come on here, uncut, unscripted, and on the fly, and talk some MLP, FIM, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic news. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so basically the news I want to talk about, we're going to start off with something that a lot of people pretty much know about already. And that is the Midpilogue, which is short, in my opinion, for middle and epilogue. Basically, this Midpilogue takes place, I should say, during the aftermath of the final battles to save Equestria in the ending of the End Part 2 and Twilight's coronation that we see in the flashback of the final episode, The Last Problem. And what this Midpilogue does is it focuses on Spike and Starlight, building and creating this videography scrapbook or album, video album or videography album or whatever you want to call it, scrapbook of memories for Twilight, so she could look back on all the great times that she's had with her friends when she doesn't get to see them, since they'll be going their separate ways and only being able to meet up once a month as the Council of Friendship. And the title of this Midpilogue is called My Little Pony Friendship is Forever, and it's a 6-part clip show miniseries. Yeah, it's a limited series. It's kind of like something you would see on Netflix, like, as strange as a comparison as it might be. It's kind of like with something like, Midnight Gospel or Castlevania, or even the new She-Ra series that's going into its final season. It's kind of like that, where the episodes are limited to a certain number. And that's basically what Friendship is Forever is. It's basically in that category of being a limited series that's only going to run for 6 weeks. Now, currently, it's already aired the first 3 episodes of the 6-part event in Australia, I should say, on several of its channels, as well as I'm sure other parts of the world. Which kind of tells me that if we get it here in the US, and we will, it's either going to be on demand, which would be stupid, or it's going to be during the summer, which Discovery Family and Hasbro has been known to do when it comes to MLP and anything that could help keep the franchise going and in the public's eye. So I think Friendship is Forever will air here in the US. It'll probably end up airing most likely around June, maybe July. Now, with that said, basically, like I mentioned, this is a 6-part clip show miniseries. The first 3 parts have already aired. They are focused on Rarity, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy. And there are moments in there that, there are moments in there that are new. There is new material. And there are certain elements that have been focused on throughout the series that some people may not be thrilled about or fans about, that do get touched upon. And as a matter of fact, as I've mentioned, and I'm sure others will mention, when they talk about addressing memories, hold on for a sec. Like I said, there's a moment, those moments, I should say, that do get addressed and do get touched upon that some fans may or may not like, or support or may not support, or find unnecessary or controversial. One, for example, is Sparity, and this takes place in the first episode of the clip show miniseries called Addressing Memories, where Rarity and Twilight are remembering the good times they've had together and how they've been an inspiration to each other. And Twilight also brings up Rarity's friendship / relationship with Spike, and how, that's been, how much of an inspiration they've been to each other. And as I've mentioned before, Rarity has a line in there that says, yes, although her friendship or relationship with Spike has changed over the years, her friendship with him still remains very, very special. And the reaction from Spike will kind of tell you the whole story. You know, he's got the blush on his cheeks, he's got the smile, he's got the hearts floating above him. But then what really cracks me up is, you know, because we see the memories of Spike and Rarity, you know, going into the book as well. And basically, you know, as Spike is reacting to this and that's occurring, we see Starlight with like a little smile and like the eyebrow up a little bit, like, you know, she finds it adorable. But I you kind of see what's, you know, with Starlight, like she kind of finds it adorable, but like, you know, she has that look that goes, oh, I see what this is about. And, you know, Spike, you know, he has to close the book real quickly, like, whoops, you're not supposed to see that. And he does it in such a way that he closes it on his finger, and just before he screams in pain, Starlight has to kind of, you know, hold him and kind of keep him quiet, because, you know, he closed the book real quickly because he didn't want Starlight to see that. You know, so yeah, there are moments like that that get addressed, and other ones as well. Heck, they even go into Power Pony territory, I think, with the Fluttershy one. So yeah, basically the first 3 episodes of this clip show miniseries, as I've said, have already aired in Australia, and you have 3 more to go. Now, Dr. Wolf has actually talked about these, as he would do every time an episode would come on during the show's original run. You know, he would review it, talk about it, and that's basically what he's doing here. And the one constant plot that we get throughout the episodes is each of the main 6, or each of the rest of the main 8, I should say, because I'll get into that in a moment. Each of the main 8 so far have to find a way to distract Twilight so she doesn't catch on to what's happening. She doesn't, you know, catch on to the fact that Spike and Starlight are in the vicinity and trying to, you know, get her to remember all the good times for the scrapbook or anything. They don't want to ruin the surprise. So one of the main plot points throughout is each of the main 6, or each of the main 8, with the exception of Twilight, trying to, you know, keep Starlight and Spike hidden. Now, you might say, well, you say main 8, and you mentioned that Starlight and Spike are behind this. How are they going to be able? What do you mean by that? What's going on? Well, here's the thing. Dr. Wolf did his recent review on the Fluttershy episode, on the one that had Fluttershy remembering times with Twilight. And he said at the end of that video that the next one was going to be Rainbow Dash, and then the one that followed would be Applejack. And then, of course, to close it out, because it's a 6-part deal, the last one's going to focus on Spike and Starlight. So it's going to be, so yeah, that's basically what I mean by main 8. And now again, you might be asking, okay, well, if Starlight and Spike are the last ones involved, how are they going to hide each other? And I think they're going to figure this out. I think Spike's going to spend time with Twilight, and then Starlight's going to do the same thing, and they're just going to go from there. So it's going to be really interesting how they pull that off. Now here's the thing. It may not just be them. That we may get a twist. It might also be Celestia and Luna that get involved. So who knows? But yeah, anyway, the next few episodes after these first 3 are going to focus on Rainbow, Apple, and then Spike and Starlight, respectfully. And then possibly Celestia and Luna if they throw that in there. I'm not saying they will. But yeah, the next 3 are Rainbow, Apple, Spike, and Starlight. So it's going to be really interesting, just like I say, to see how they approach those, you know. And again, like I say, the main plot point, or the main common plot point, sorry about that, plot point throughout the episodes that's, you know, can be comedic, can be funny, is how the rest of the main 8 with the exception of Twilight, and then eventually each other. How how is Applejack gonna hide Starlight and Spike? How is Rainbow Dash gonna hide Starlight and Spike? So that Twilight doesn't catch on. And then again, eventually, how is Starlight gonna hide Spike, and how is Spike gonna hide Starlight? Without Twilight catching on, as they try to reminisce and get the memories they need for the book. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to look forward to. And again, you can watch these on anything. Watch these right now anywhere. Honestly, you can watch them on PonyTube. You can watch them on various Facebook group pages of MLP. You can watch them at Daily Motion. And believe it or not, I think you can watch them at the YT, if you know what I mean. And even Vimeo. I think there's various places you can watch them, if you can. So yeah, the episodes are, again, this series, this Midpilogue, as I call it, it's basically a 6-part clip show miniseries that focuses on the memories that each of the main 8, because I think that this confirms that it's a main 8 group, have with Twilight and vice versa. But now, let's talk about some other MLP news. Alright, so let's talk some other MLP news. Let's talk crossovers. Now, we know that one of the more anticipated crossovers for My Little Pony that's going to be happening eventually very soon, in the next, I would say, couple of months, depending on how this situation pans out. Whether it's as individual comics, individual issues, or even just the individual issues and the trade paperback graphic novels sold at the same time. Basically, long story short, one of the more anticipated crossovers fans are looking forward to is My Little Pony and Transformers Friendship in Disguise, which is going to go for, I would think, about, 4 issues, I think? 4 issues, a whole month. Because the original plan by IDW was to go a whole month with each issue being released every week. So that's kind of up in the air right now. My assumption is it's still going to be released, but it might be released not just individually, but in graphic novel form as well, which means it could all be released simultaneously or within a shorter span of time than originally planned out by IDW and Hasbro. But speaking of that crossover, because of that, Hasbro has decided, you know what? We have the license to make toys for these other properties. Why not, maybe try some other crossovers. So guess what? Basically, Transformers and My Little Pony are going to continue crossing over. And as I predicted, and I'm sure others predicted, My Little Pony and Transformers are going to cross over, not just in comic book form, but in toy form and collector's form. In other words, you're going to get some Transformer My Little Pony merchandise figures. And Transformers and My Little Pony isn't the only crossover. You're also going to get My Little Pony and Power Ranger figures and collectibles. You're going to get that and maybe possibly get a eventual crossover out of that. I mean, think about it. Power Rangers teaming up with the MLP main 6, main 8 in the Power Pony personas. Could happen. But yeah, you're going to get some Power Ranger My Little Pony merchandise coming. It's already being listed as pre-order or in development or something like that on some of the Amazon sites in the UK and other parts of the world. And on top of that, get this. You're also going to get My Little Pony Ghostbusters. Yeah, My Little Pony and Ghostbusters are going to be crossed over as well for some merchandise to be sold and collected by fans. So that's happening. And again, you never know. Might get a comic out of that as well. But yeah, the But yeah, Transformers and My Little Pony are not just crossing over in comic book form, they're also crossing over in other merchandise, figures, collectibles. And My Little Pony and Transformers is not the only property, I should say, Hasbro property, licensed that is, that, they're crossing over with. My Little Pony's crossing over with Ghostbusters, with Power Rangers, and who knows, we might get crossover comics out of those as well, and that would be interesting. And I'm sure fans of both properties would salivate at the prospect of owning those. And I don't know what the heck that was. That might have been a backfire, if you will. But like I said, they could, salivate at the prospect of owning any kind of those merchandise down the line. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with MLP as far as crossovers are concerned. So really intriguing, really interesting. Okay, so pretty much that's really about it. I mean, the only other thing I can say is if you have the Universal Kids channel on your cable, in your cable package, then there's a good chance you can catch the MLP movie through that as well, the 2017 one. But yeah, that's really about it. Not really much else besides that. We are getting. I will put it this way, from a fandom perspective. There's going to be, from what I understand, when they get the opportunity, there's going to be more Bronies Reacts from AC Race Best and his friends. There's going to be more discussion videos and everything, and theory videos by Brony Notion and many others down the line, including Dr. Wolf. So, yeah, there's still more to look forward to as far as MLP is concerned. There's even a fan SFW CGI-like project in the works. That's kind of Star Trek / Star Wars inspired, as far as I know. So, yeah, and there's even a new music video with some of the main six, including Sunset Shimmer, performing a song by, I think, KDA. I think that's the name, KDA. I'm not really sure. So that's out as well. So a lot's going on with MLP still. And yes, season 10 is still going to happen. It's just right now, because of what's going on, it's going to have to wait till later on. And Pony Life, that's still up in the air. Could be the same reason. They're waiting until this whole thing kind of cools down a little bit to take a step forward with it. But anyway, that's pretty much about it for some MLP news. Hope you guys liked it. I'm going to get me some lunch now, and I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care. I am out.